I'll move to the next slide where we'll be speaking more about the MVP, right? So bare minimum architecture, which that word that you use, right? So can you explain a bit at low level now how exactly it is planned in your case or in some of the products that we built, and how one should plan as well in their journey?
Yes. Yes, Praveen, actually. So when we started this architecture, bare minimum architecture, so the focus will be put together to all the basic elements that cater to this bare minimum architecture. And when we started actually implementing this architecture and move to the production, so initially there are two stages here. One is alpha release and another is beta release. So in alpha release, what will happen is we will not consider much about the security or will not consider much about the reliability. It is only in alpha release the developer who is going to test that alpha release actually. So mainly, so the development team will ensure that all the functionalities are met in this system, including the NFRs and everything, including the functional requirements and non-functional requirements. That is a part of alpha release. And once this alpha release has been planned, so then it will be moved to the beta release. And in beta release, it is as if actually it is working as in we can call it as a prototype to the real entity. And this will be tested by the real-time the customers, beta users and the real-time environment. And here we consider all the aspects for security, compliance, and reliability and everything. So when I say reliability, so reliability should be the outcome of, for example, so mainly when we consider if the system is down, so mainly we consider RPO and RTO. So where in RTO we consider in how much amount of time the system will be back or will be up and functional. And when we consider RPO, in case if the system is down, so we need to consider how much is the loss of data. So that means data backups are also very important actually. And since in case if data server crashes, we'll lose the entire data. So the frequent backups. And for example, we are taking a backup at morning 10 a.m. and the next backup is around again after 11 a.m. Say at 10:30 a.m. the server got crashed. So what used to happen is 10 to 10:30 a.m. data will be lost actually. Okay, so those kind of scenarios are all we have to consider when we just from beta release when we move to production, actual production. So all these things we have to consider in beta release and properly plan and then move to the production. So though these are all part of MVP, but these are very essential, especially from the reliability perspective and resiliency perspective. So many people will get confused about the difference between reliability and resiliency. So I want to tell you in this webinar. So reliability is actually the outcome of what I have told actually, mainly how we can achieve. So what is the RTO value? What is the best RTO value that we can achieve? What is the best RPO value? That means when we say best RTO value, decrease in the time where the system can get to normal state. And the best RPO value is decrease in the time where the data backups will be very frequent so that there will not be huge data loss actually. And in order to achieve these, so we'll be implementing resiliency factors. So that means reliability is the outcome and resilience is the way to achieve this outcome actually. So mainly for resiliency, for example, when we say, let us take this MVP. So many people will get doubt that in MVP, what actually resilience will be considered because it's a minimum viable product and only one component will be running as a whole as a part of a single application. Yeah, correct. But within that component, say for example, say let us go to a simple three-tier architecture where we have a UI, where we have a service layer, and where we have a data layer. Say for example, in service layer we have two instances of service layer running. So what happens actually if one service layer is down? So more traffic will go to the one service instance, and the other service instance is completely in the closed state actually. So resiliency is a way where there should be some self-healing capabilities where the system should heal itself and then it should come to its normal position. So if we can implement this resiliency, then automatically reliability is achieved actually. So in that way, this resiliency and reliability are interlinked to each other. So this all we consider in the beta release. So the next slide, if you see Praveen, which I was talking about the alpha release. This is actually where we do in the pre-prod environment. Mainly it is done by developers. And mainly here we don't consider the reliability, security. We'll consider here all the functional requirements are met actually with the basic non-functional requirements. But all the functional requirements are tested completely in alpha release. But in beta release, we focus because once alpha release, all the functional requirements are tested. Then we move to beta release, and in beta release, we test mainly the non-functional requirements. So the security aspects, the reliability aspects, and everything. So in this way, either it is an MVP or it is a large-scale product. So when we start adapting to the production environment, so it has to move from alpha to beta and beta to the actual production. So in that way, we design all these actually.
So just to confirm, right? So in the alpha release, you mentioned that the compliance and the security needs are taken care.
Yeah. So here in alpha release, mainly the focus is mainly on the functional requirements actually.
Okay.
So on concentrating the functional group, but in beta release, we take the complete security part, compliance part.
Including the non-functional.
Yeah. And when we say compliance means, again, here there are two things. Compliance at the infra level, compliance at the code level. So compliance at the code level will be taken at the care of by the alpha release, because alpha release will freeze the code once it moves to beta release actually. Almost it is freezed whenever we want to change something. So in alpha release, what will happen is, so when I say compliance at the code level, say for example, let us take healthcare HIPAA compliance. Say the PHA data has to be, when we log some information to PHA data, so what will happen is at the time of development only, before moving to pre-prod development, so our code should ensure that we should not log as is the PHA data, which actually violates the HIPAA compliance. The logging we should have some masking. We should have masking of that using some mask converters, and then we should mask the data by logging, so that anyone if monitors the log, so that should, so all that will be handled before alpha release. So that is for sure actually. Okay. Because actually in beta release we might miss all those things. So in beta release we mainly concentrate at the infra level actually. At the infra level, the security is performed. Even for example, the API, the request response, the security scans, everything are performed at the beta level actually.